Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Look, the to-do list is complete. Stick around. Here we go. Project VIC100. Back on it again. We got, I'm going to try to see what I can get done. I like to get this here clued up the week. And my little list here, a lot of it is pretty well straightforward and simple. I'm going to start working on from the front to the back. I got the grill and the bumper here. I laid the grill up in place. I got a drill, 2 holes right here, and bolt them on. I'm not going to be concerned about that right now because I had it laid in place. It's all going to work. Everything's fine. There's no clearance issues with the grill that I can find. So I'm going to move on to getting this front bumper mounted. I got to make up bumper brackets right here to come out, and I got to join into the frame rail here. Now, the problem I got is that this is why I was talking about body mounts and stuff like that. I can't mount them on the inside, and on the bottom, I can't mount it because there is a cross member that goes across the bottom there and the rad support right here. So I can't hang off the front of it here anywhere, back to about here somewhere. So I can only come down, and I got this sway bar to deal with on the bottom. So the bottom is like, it's a bit of a nuisance. I'm going to have to come off this side here and go down and go forward. That's what I'm going to have to do for bumper brackets. So I think I'm just going to come down here with steel, and then go forward and give me something for the bumper to mount to. What I have to try to do with, I'm always looking for used steel around. I managed to find, I think they're 8-foot lengths possibly. There's a bunch of 2x2 right here that I picked up used. It's all brand new steel. It come from like a building supplies place that came with some brackets or something, and this steel was very clean. I like it. So I'm going to take that there. I'm going to mount to the bumper. I'm going to double them up and make 4 inches out of them. I haven't got nothing here, and I'm not buying nothing for this. I have it here in the shop, so I'm going to use this here. I'm going to take a piece of that there now and start taking up some measurements to mount the bumper on the front of it. And I'm going to build a plating system that will take in the factory bumper bolts right here. I'm just going to get a strip of steel that'll fit in here that this will bolt to. And I'm going to have it wide enough so I can actually just weld a 2x3 to it. And that'll go in and that'll be welded to the chassis rail. So it's pretty well straightforward and simple. I've been thinking about it all weekend, what way I was going to do it. I just soon get it done. And so the bumper, I got to figure out how wide it's going to come out. It's going to come out through, you can see the way the brace is there now. So the bumper brace is going to come out here somewhere on the outside of this. So I got to take some measurements now and figure out how wide this plating system is going to be, because it's going to bolt on here, but the bumper is probably going to be, chassis rail is going to be out about here somewhere. This is what I got to figure out. So I'll go get that all figured out now. Been doing a lot of figuring out and trying to get a game plan on everything. This is what I've come up with. What I'm going to do is in here you can see I made this L bracket that's cut on a 45, and that comes out this way here to the front. I made 2 of them, one for this side, one for the other side. They will be welded on there. I start thinking about like individual bumper brackets coming out and tabbing off them, and I think the easiest thing for me to do is just to make a square box that'll go over here like a push bar, and then that'll go back and go over here. That way, because the problem I got is the actual bumper bolts. To give you an example, right here, see there's the bumper bolt there. Well, this is about where this end of the pipe is going to be. This piece right here, this square stock piece here, will be about right here somewhere. So I need to put tabs off of it to come over to this here. Now, if I had this piece going across this way here, I can just weld onto this, come up, and tab to this here, and tab to that bottom there, and then I got spots where I can actually put the bumper on. And this here will go across the front of it like this here. It just tidies everything up, keeps everything square. It's extra support, ties the entire front chassis rail together. And so I just look at the whole point of simplicity of it, keeping everything square, because the frame rails are not exactly square going out to the front of it, but I got a measurement measured up now from this back corner to the back corner on the other side, I got 42.5 inches. And if I just made this a square box, 42.5 inches, then I can move it back and forth to actually figure out my heights. I'm going to cut, I think, cut another inch off of these, and that'll be my outside edge, because I don't need all this here. I got to have it so that I can actually tuck the bumper back as far as I can get once I get it bolted on. Because once I get it figured out where this is to on this, then I got to figure out this stuff here for the bumper bolts, right? So it's a lot to take in, lots of figuring to do. Just a regular bumper bracket won't work. Like just tabbing this off of this here and coming down and running tabs off it. Because like I say, the bumper bolts are about right here somewhere. Then I would have to run a big old wide tab off it. And then trying to get this one the right height, trying to get that one the right height. I can do it all over there on the bench. Get this all square and flat, so when I put it up in place, this here will be level and straight. And then I just got to figure out where the tabs go. So I'm not going to think too far ahead. I'm going to take this off now. I got 42 inches. I'm going to cut this on 45, cut this on 45 after I cut an inch off because it is too long. And then I'm going to make up, and I'll take this piece here, cut it on 45, mark it out 42.5 inches. And then weld that onto that. So I just got this great big push bar in front of it then. I'm just blowing through this. I just got everything cut on 45s. I got this here measured up now to the outside edge here is 42.5 inches. And I shortened up this end here a small bit on the ends right here. I cut 2 inches off it because I figured this bar here is going to be out too far anyway. And this here could be moved forward some, so I took 2 full inches out of this out on the inside here and cut that off, and then I cut this on a 45 to be the exact measurement from here to here, which is 42.5. And then I square up the bench here. I set them up, welded them on. So now that this here, I use them on the front of my bench as a straight edge. Then I measured from here to here on the inside edge. Done the same thing from here over to here, and I'm square. So I'm going to go ahead now and weld these on right here where it's 2. That way I'll get that all done. But you can see the concept what I'm after here now. I just want this to come down here and across and come up again, and that way I can just run a bumper bracket here and a bumper bracket here, and it'll bolt right on. Simple as that. Everything else I was thinking about, because this is the outside of the frame rail, I couldn't put it on the bottom of the frame rail right here, and I couldn't put it on the inside of the frame rail here. It had to be on the outside. And in order for me to come over to the bumper bracket, this would have had to come down, come over, tip over, come over, this type of thing on a straight edge, and then trying to get both of them to be symmetrical. I think this here is just as simple and easy. To me, I want to make this quick and easy so that I can actually get everything put together on the front of it. And this is just a crash bar. At the end of the day, puts a bit of strength on the front of the truck and ties the nose of the frame rail back together again, because there was a cross member there, welded all together. Now it's all going to be joined again. It's just going to be the bumper bracket is all. Anyway, I'll go get that all welded up. I'm here now and I got these welded up. I got 3 sides welded on both of these here. Not happy with the welds. I'm here now because where I'm always doing auto body, it really don't matter. And then when I start playing around doing sheet metal, by rights I should sit down here and set the welder up and get it where I'm happy with it. But I'm just like wanting to get this done, and yeah, that's good enough for that. And I ran the bead over. I'm here. I got the welders changed over. The VIC100 got 023 wire in it, and the VIC205 Pro got 035 wire in it. So now I got this machine hooked up here, and I'm just trying to get used to it again. Like I don't do a lot of heavy structural welding at times, and like, you know, they're not half bad welds, just they're very high, and I don't like that. And oh, that's good enough for this old thing. I gotta let this cool off now, cut it off. I just gotta weld the bottoms here and the bottom here, and then this piece here is ready to go over and start test fitting. I got to figure out where it sits in the bumper and go from there. So I got them all welded up and grinded up. As you always say, if you can never be a good welder, be a good grinder. That's good enough. That's lots of penetration over there. I just didn't like how high the welds were going. And if I had to have time, I should have set the welder up right, but no, that's solid. It's solid. Now you can see here, there's the bumper bolt there. There's where the outside the frame rails were to, and in reference to this. All I'm going to do now is make up a tab that'll go down along here. That'll take in that bolt and that bolt there, and that will be welded to this here. And it'll just bolt down. It'll be a tab off there and a tab coming up here. I'm probably just going to make a strip to go right down over the whole works of it and just weld it from both sides. That way I'll have it done. Same with over here. The only thing I got to find now is where this got to be in terms of in and out and the height of it and stuff like that. So I'm going to clamp this in place now back on the truck to see where everything lies. Well, you talk about a few hours. I've been all afternoon now playing with this, trying to get this figured out. I had the original chrome bumper. I was using that, and I just found that I had to clamp everything on. I felt like the bumper was twisted or something, so I went and hauled out the steel bumper and started fitting that on there. It seems like that was fitting a little bit better, but I will be putting a chrome one on it. But all I'm after is trying to find these locations here where I can actually put the bumper bolt plates on and get them all set up. Trying to figure things out. I had to put the grill in it to get a visual on everything, to find out the distance here, how close I can tuck the bumper back. I've noticed some that are stuck off and some are right low and stuff like that, but I find that I like to have this level with the bottom of the grill here and have it back as tight as I can get it, just a little small bit of leeway in between here. It's still not the same left to right, because right here in the middle, the license plate, on the easiest way to describe it, the license plate bracket is curved like this. That's the easiest way to describe that. And I got that square stock running across the front. So when you're trying to clamp to it, whatever side you clamps to first, she'll pull that side in. And then you clamp the other side and it'll just bring it in, but it'll still stick off a small bit. This is what's going on here. Right, still stuck off a small bit here and a small bit there. Once I get the brackets figured out where they're going to go, I'm going to rig them up so that they're going to pull in tight. And it'll be touching along here on the bumper, and it'll be pulling tight in here. Trying to get the distance here figured out. Then trying to get these to look right. See here now we got this bracket. You see this hole above it? That's symmetrical left and right. It's in the same location. And I was trying to get this section here to line up on both sides. And for the longest while, I had this one all the way forward, ahead of this line, and on the other side was behind the line. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it's because of the twist in the bumper. You're figuring things out as you go along, see? And I got this jury-rigged up enough now that I got an idea of what's going on. And I'm happy where it's to. And I got this bracket put on the same place on this side over here so I can weld them on. I got spacer blocks put underneath the rad support. Looks like probably a 3/4 inch or ½ inch piece of board. And I got a clamp down with a C-clamp there on both sides. That's what's giving it the height. So when I take it off, or the blocks of wood out, there'll be a space underneath the rad support. Yeah, it's tricky, I can tell you. I'm beat out at it here now, just trying to figure out, like, I'm still not happy with the way the bumper sits. I like to have the bumper just a little bit like that, turn a little tiny bit more like that. And I think all I'm going to do there is when I put the bracket on here, I'm going to put a spacer on the bottom bolt when I goes to weld it on. So when I bolts it all together and welds it in place, right here there'll be a gap on the actual bumper bracket, so that when I takes the washer out and tightens it up, it'll turn the bottom of the bumper in. That's the game plan that I got anyway. Because over here, same thing, right? Just seems like, it's not half bad. It's up straight up down. I've seen these bumpers where this section right here, that's not half bad. This section here has been twisted out this way, right? So that's not half bad there. Where's two? It's an unusual shaped bumper. Like I talked about it before, the bumper gets narrow in the middle and gets wide again. That's just nature of the beast on these. And it overlaps the the center of valance. So I wanted to overlap as much of this line as I possibly could. You can see this line here goes along the front, and then it just disappears. Now that line up here is right here on the bumper, underneath the bumper. That's overlapped the bumper that much over there on that end in the middle. It's wild. Like, what was Ford thinking? You would think this have a bit of a curvature to it. And I've seen guys taking bumpers and possibly putting curves and everything on them. I'm not going to touch that chrome bumper. That bumper's going on like it is. I'm just over-analyzing every little detail. Right here, I got a hole. I got a drill. There's a bracket in here. You see the little bracket? Look down there. Can you see the little bracket? Yeah, you can see the little bracket right there. You barely get my finger at it. But I got to drill a hole in the rad support there, and there's another one over here. There's one in the middle right here that I'm possibly going to have to lengthen, because that goes down. You can see it right there. And I think I'm going to lengthen that and have that so it bolts on in the middle right here, in this section right here. This will come in and go down and bolt on here. That's what I think I'm going to do there. And that's all the original brackets on the rad, on the actual grill. But yeah, I got to figure it out. I got to go make up these brackets here now. Get them figured out, see if I can dig out some 4 bumper bolts. I have a bin of bumper bolts there. It's just a matter of finding nuts and everything for them, find the ones that fits them. So I'll go work on that now and see if I can figure out something for brackets. I throw nothing out. Oh, carriage bolt style unit. These are the bumper ones here. I found 4 of them there, 4 or 5 of them. There's a few more there. I'd like to have a few long ones if I can get them. Yeah, they're too long, them ones there are. So I'll figure out a few bolts and get some nuts for them. So here's how the bracket and everything looks on the front of it now. It is all welded in place and all fitting. I haven't got it welded on yet. I'm going to wait till I got the bumper actually mounted. So if I got to tweak it to get the bumper to fit proper, I will. Over here now, I'm going to use the steel bumper, or the painted bumper. All I'm going to do is I get 2 strips now. They're going to come down here, to come up here, and burn 2 holes in them, or cut 2 holes in them, that I can actually put the actual bolts through, and then I can actually tighten up the nut itself on the back side, and then this plate here will be welded right here. Be welded onto this here. So this will have a tab coming up here, and a tab going down on the bottom side of it there. That's the whole process. So over here now, what I got done is I got myself some bolts. Hopefully they're going to be long enough. This is all I can find. I have to go out, run out and get more if I got to. But I got this 3/16 plate here. I'm going to measure up how much I need down, cut it off, and then I'm going to start bending it up to fit. I'm going to try to see if I can bend it in the vise. Hopefully I can, because there's only strips. If not, I'll have to split it and thin it and bend it, and then I'll weld it up again and dress it that way. But I'm going to try to see if I can just manually bend it first, because I got to put a 90 degree on one end of it, and then I got to blow a hole or put a hole in the end of it here and another one down here, so I can actually bolt it on to the actual bumper itself. So I'll go ahead now and get these cut out and see what I can do about bending them up. Well, that wasn't half bad. This is what I come up with. All I did is I cut up some lengths of that 3/16. I just clamped it in the vise like so, and struck it with a hammer and bent it over. That's it. I went over and test fitted on it, marked the back side of it, came over here and just drilled it out with a couple of drill bits. There you go. Got a couple of bump brackets around off the edges on them a bit. We'll go over now and bolt them on. It's as simple as that. Got 2 of them bolted on. I'm going to go over now, position this on the front of it and clamp it onto that spot there and get everything lined up where I'm happy with it, so I can get that welded on. Get them there welded on right there. So I got it all welded on. There we go. We got bumpers on it. I got to take this off now because I only got the bottom lip of it welded, and I got to weld the top of the bracket and everything under. But I went ahead then, come over here and put some bubble gum on over here. And got that so it's permanently mounted part of the truck. I want to tidy it up and run beads on this when I haul all the front off it. But I like to get this bumper bracket finished up because the top of it is kind of like tipped back a small bit. So I'm going to have to probably put a small sliver of steel or something in there to weld it up to keep it in the position that it's in now. But that's it. She has a bumper. So I'm going to go ahead now and haul that bumper off so you can see how it all goes together. So here's what it looks like. There's a bit of an angle there, you can see. I'm gonna have to fill that up with something. Over here, the same thing. I don't want to disturb them there. So I'm gonna weld them up now like they are. I'll probably get something put in here later on. This was a nightmare. I had to cannibalize an old wrench in order to get this bolt out. I marked these here because I want to see how much of this here I can actually move back to make room, but that's not the problem. The problem is this section right here. I might notch this or something so I can get in there. It is hard to get a bolt in here. Right, the way that's done. So, but that's it. I got it done. I'm going to go ahead and get 2 of them welded up. Well, I got most of it welded up. Sides there. Got them all welded up now. I'm going to weld the inside in there now when I get the rad sport and everything out of it. Same with in around there, the back side. I'm happy with everything that's there now. So I'm just going to throw the chrome bumper on there and see what it looks like. Well, there is a slight difference with them. All I got done is I got the 2 bottom bolts put in. I just got the 2 top ones laid in place. So it got to be pulled down a small bit. Tightened up over here. But there is a bit of a difference right here from the other bumper. You see it here and here. This is what I was after. Was this right here, this distance here. This side here seems to be tweaked out a small bit. You can see there's a kink in the frame in the bumper there. So I'll have to massage that back into place on that end because it only hangs from here. So this side here has to be pulled in. So I'd say if you give that a few smacks with a block of wood and a hammer, you'll get that moved back. But yeah, I got the bling on her now. Look, all the chrome on the front of her. Woo-hoo. She's coming together. That's another one off the list. I got to finish up some welding on it. But I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to consider the actual bumper is mounted. I just got to finish it up, so. I had to put the headlight pots on it just to get the full effect of it. Yeah. Another piece of the puzzle done. Now, I got a buddy of mine called me today. He's going to pop out tomorrow, and we're going to work on getting this hood put on. And that'll be, all the front to be glued up then. I'm telling you, some undertaking trying to get all this done. All the fabrication work to get all this front straightened away. Like, the cab has been done a month now. You know, all I got left to do is the seat and stuff like that. But to do all the fabrication I've been doing forward of that. Man, oh man. But that's it. That there was basically my entire day. I was run out for a little bit here, but I came back and, you know, it's evening here now. It's 9:30 in the evening, and I just finished this up. A lot of it on this here was thinking, trying to figure things out, how to design stuff. And once you got that figured out, it was just a matter of making all the pieces. But trying to figure out how to mount this bumper, I'm telling you, a lot of people just runs tabs in through and up and underneath. And I don't think there's any real structure there. I like what I got done. If this takes a hard knock in the front now, it's going to be able to take a blow. It's not just going to fold out of its way. That was the purpose behind these old trucks. They were solid in the front. Well, you can see the way I got this done down here now. So I'll weld all that up. I'll cap this over and weld that up so no debris or anything gets into it. I cut it on an angle just to make it look presentable looking. I got the blocks of wood taken out now, so there's about that much clearance underneath the valves for clearances on there. And there's not the tires or nothing won't hit it. And I'm almost 100% sure that the inner fender well will not touch it. But hey, you know, I'm not going to worry too much about it. If I got to cut a piece out of the way, I'll cut a piece out of the way. But yep, I'm going to go in now and have dreams about this. Well, new day. I got to wait now for one of the boys is going to drop by, give me a hand, lift on and off this hood a few times so I can get it all bolted down and figured out. So basically that'll be it for the front then. I think the only thing I got left to do then is the battery box. I'll leave that alone for now. What I'm going to move on to now is I got to do all the interior stuff. But before I do the interior stuff, I got to look after all this glass. Someone's put all this back in the door and get all this back to normal again. And some of these doors needs, the bottom of the glass needs work done on them. I need to make up new runners or whatever for them. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take all this stuff out and set it up and start doing repairs so I can put this door back together. So here's what we got. This is the mess I'm up against here. I got this piece here, this channel, and it is literally gone. This fits over the sleeve here, which slides over onto that there. What I need to do is I got to make this piece here to replace this piece. I have this one here to go by. So I'm going to use this one as my template, because this will be the mirror image of this one. So all my measurements from this end will go from this end here, like and so on and so on. I need to do that repair there. Up here I got the vent window section. This has a pin right here that welds onto here. That used to be the adjusting part of it and is let go. So I got to weld that on. I may have to pull the glass out of this here in order to do that repair. But for now, I'm going to concentrate on getting this door glass done, because the vent window on the passenger side is good. So I can actually do this one here and put it together. It's kind of strange because this window is good, can be put in it, but that vent window is belong to this window. And the vent window belong to this window is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead now and dream up something for this. I have an idea, old scrap steel I got here, that could possibly fix this. If you remember all that white sheeting that I had, there was rolled edges on it. The problem I'm having is finding a complete section that I can get both sides out of this channel. I'm going to measure it up to see if it'll work or not, because I do have an abundance of this here that I can possibly build. I don't think I got any there that's the full length. I'd like to use this wide section here. That one's too narrow. This one here I have roughly about this much of this one here and this much of this one here. So I might be able to make one from that, them two pieces here. I just soon keep the, I don't want to go, I can simply just take a piece like this and weld an edge back on it again. But I'm trying to make this so that I can actually build it and not have to worry about sides, because I think this here should work. So I'm going to go now and see what I can clean up here now, see if I can get a measurement of how much I actually need, and start making the piece. Well, I did some more digging and I found this piece. So this here should do for what I need it for. The measurement here almost seems identical on the bottom side here as the width that I need. This is the width that I need here. And that there seems pretty well to be the same as that. I kind of looked into this. If you look at the two of them there, seems to be quite the same. So I'm going to measure it off as 18 inches. I'm going to cut it off, trim it off, and start figuring out how I'm going to attach it. Something tells me I'm going to have to urethane this onto the actual runner, because it's not going to stay on it now. The piece that's on the window, because this here has a little indent in it. You can see the way it's done is pinched. I can probably try to do something like that, but I'm not going to overthink this. I'll get this done now. So here's what I come up with. Nothing fancy about that. I had to close it up a small bit. I cleaned up the actual runner and I clamped it in place. Came over here using this one here as a guide, because it got to be backwards. But what I've noticed is that this is in the center of the actual thing. So this actual piece would fit on the left or the right. It doesn't matter. You just got to flip it around. Like if you wanted to take this glass here, if you only had a passenger side door glass, all you got to do is pop this off, turn it around, put it back on the window again. You got driver's side door glass. That's the way they work. It's pretty neat. But I got this set up here now. This was only welded on, a couple of spot welds across here and a couple of spot welds across here. So I'm going to repeat the process, but I'm just going to weld it on the side here. It's off-centered a small bit. It's not right in the middle of the actual channel. And I just duplicated. I just used this one here, like I said. You can see the way that one there is not fully centered on it, on either end. So I just duplicated that and made sure that it's to the back side of the guide side. So you can see the way I got it done there. So I got that set up. That side there got to go back a bit more. Yes, this side here got to go back a bit more. I'll get that done now, get that welded up. Now this is all I got done with it. Just a few tacks. I put a couple in the middle, and I shouldn't have been at that because it will interfere in here if I don't watch it. But it's I just checked it. It seems fine as kind. But only tack welded on the outside. All this was like 3 little spot welds out here and 3 little spot welds out here. So I didn't want to go trying to drill out holes and try to weld inside the channel. So I just tack welded it on the outside edge. That'll be strong enough, I'd say. If it breaks off, I'll repair it again. That's all. But yeah. So that's pretty well ready to go. Now I got to figure out a way of getting all this together. back on that window. Oh, I got it on there. It was tight going on and it was tricky, and I'm hopefully it's going to stay in best kind. I'll deal with it if I have runs into troubles later on with it. I'm going to turn around now and start putting this one here back together. I'm probably going to work on this first to get all the glass modifications done. I never put no urethane or nothing on it. This here was never held on with urethane. It was just pressed on. And what I did is I folded in the top edge here tighter on the edge, so it was hard to get on. You can see the way I closed it in on the bottom. Okay. And then I just turn around and was very gentle with a pair of vice grips, squeezing that together. I figured I was going to bring you back and this will be just a scattered mess on the bench. But no, I got it on there, so I'll clean this up in here a little bit more now, and I'm going to fill that full of grease. And that one's done. And this one here, I'll just clean it up and put a little bit of grease on that one there as well. I might even go to the point of giving these a lick of paint. I don't need to worry about that right now. Let's take this one apart and see what I got. Watch your fingers. Yeah. She's there. I got it on, and I got it lined up. My old buddy Jeff showed up here and we had a gab session, and he gave me a hand putting this on, getting everything lined up. I had to do some adjustments on everything, but I never had to modify nothing down here. I loosened up all the bolts, just moved it around where it wanted to go, tightened it up. I got the spring put back on this side here. It helps with the hood, lifting it up. It is an extremely heavy hood. I don't know if the push rods are going to work. I'm going to sit on it for a while. This is going to be what she's going to have. She's going to have a rod of some sort for now. I may play around with that here, trying to see if I can spring back in it. I'm not worried about it right now because it's something that I got to really think about. It's only on the hinge itself, so I can take it off and modify it, or I can get another hinge like it if I come across it. I can modify another hinge and bolt it on. But for now, everything closes, opens and closes. I got the latches working. I had to do some alignment on everything. I had the grill put in it last night, and I noticed that these holes right here, there's little holes right here, they're alignment holes for the grill. They weren't lining up. The grill had to be pushed over this way. And I was having problems. When I bolted the hood on it today, I figured out what it was, is that the front of the car was over this way too much. And I ended up down here, the actual bolts for the actual, where I bolts the rads poured on, these ones down here, them ones. What I ended up doing is I ended up oblonging the hole in the front of the rad support and just shifting it over a small bit. And by shifting it over a small bit, the fenders lined up nicer. And then the grill, when I bolted that in, that went in place where it's supposed to be. So I just threw the grill in it to make sure everything's lining up. But the hood all fits. There's some sort of stop mechanism or something out here that keeps the door. I think it bolts on here. I don't know. I got to figure out what it is that keeps the hood up, because if there's nothing here, the hood falls right to the bottom. It was tricky putting the hood on. I tried laying the hood on, crawling in here, and then trying to put the bolts in out here. Couldn't happen. I had to get out here and we had to lift the hood up and hold it up in place and then get the bolts started in order to get them put in it. But it all worked out as kind. And it opens and closes good. The latch was seized, strangely enough. I had to get that unseized, but that works perfect. Everything open and closes good. All this down here, I had to adjust this here down in order to get the latch right on it. This is the catch for the safety catch for when it's unlatched. But yeah, so we got another thing done. The hood fits, it bolts on. I'm going to have to use a rod on it for now until I figure something out for that. I'm not going to be concerned about it right now because that's not going to stop me from finishing this truck off. That's like a winter thing. I'll iron that out and figure out some sort of hinge for that, spring for that. I'm not even going to bother with the rods or nothing on this now because I don't think they're going to hold up that hood. That hood weighs a ton. And you know, it's just one of those things. I'm going to figure out some way possibly to put the spring back on it. We've talked about it. A few people pointed out moving the head. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge. But for now, she's going to get herself a nice broom handle pole and the other spring to help it. This here I find it a lot easier to open with at least one spring on it. So, and it doesn't interfere with nothing. And it just closes nicely. That's it. It's closed. That's latched. Now I got one complaint, okay? This is a right-handed truck, and I don't like it. I'm a left-handed type of guy. I got to see if I can find a left-handed pickup truck, because the only way to open up this truck is with the right hand. And then that just opens, simple as that. But yeah, I thought that was funny, because when I was out of here today, most times you open hoods, you go in here and you grab stuff to open, being left-handed is normal, but this one's weird. You got to go with the right hand open. It opens and closes nice. Seams are good all the way around it. Another thing done. So that's another piece of the puzzle. All the front is done. I got all the alignments done on everything. It's only minor stuff got to be straightened away on it. The decent gap across the back here. And going all the way down here. Like I said, I got these pieces put here. I got to figure out some sort of stop mechanism. Not going to worry about it. If I got to put a screw on a piece of rubber or something right here, I will. That's all I'll do with it. Just keep the back and hood up. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for that. Anyway, I want to send a special thank you out for Jeff. He's dropping by here today. Give me a hand with this. He's an old buddy of mine. We go way back. So I'm going to move on now and start moving, getting all the stuff glued up on the inside of the truck. Oh, yes, over here. Is upside down. Mount hood. Here we go. Another thing off the list. Get back at them windows and everything here now. I was in the middle of that when he showed up. So I put them off. As you can see, I got this one done. I got this one all fitted on there now. And it fits pretty good. Very pleased with it. It went on snug. So that's done. I managed to get it all apart. This is the actual stud itself. There's the spring that was on it. There's a washer. There was a sleeve on this here. I never bothered with it. And then it's the upper section here that keeps it from opening too far. There's a section of that missing. I think there's supposed to be a pin or clip in it. And then there's these plastic washers. I want to simplify this here because I just wanted to have it so it swung and that was it and it closed. It was a bit tricky. What I ended up doing is I welded on a 5/16 bolt on it. I just cut it off and then tack welded it on. Now this can be tricky. I was trying to clamp this in here. You can see the way I got it clamped into the vise to try to remove this so I can weld it easier. But no, I couldn't get the glass off it. Didn't want to break it. If I was going to break it, I would have broke it when I welded it. And all I did is I put a tack, cooled it all off, put a tack, let it cool it all off, put another tack, cooled it all off, did it all, cooled it all with air, compressed air. That's all I did. Just took my time with it. And made sure I got it nice and solid. It's just a regular 5/16 knot. All this is going to do is pull it tight. It's not going to be exactly the way it was originally, but it's going to keep it centered and it's going to be able to rotate from side to side. I just got to make sure that I put something on the end of it so that it don't, the actual nut itself, which I got here, the new nut, does not back off. I'll be putting washers and that on it with this thing here on the end of it here like that. I'll probably put a lock washer and that on it. And I might even just tap it with a bit of welding yet. I don't know. Just to keep this here from backing off, because there's usually like a lock nut on a type thing like this one here. But I'm just putting it together as simple as I can do it. But then I grinded it all up as best I could, whatever, and hopefully that'll hold it. Nothing elaborate here. I just want to get that welded on. That I didn't think it was going to save. I didn't bring in show you none of this because I could have been in the middle of welding this and this here could have shattered all this glass. So because of the heat and everything, you'll be very, very careful because if too much heat gets in this here and then when it goes to cool it off, it just shocks the glass and it might break on you. Or, you don't know. But hey, it worked out fine for me. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this all put back together again. That'll be the vent window repaired. So I got it all put back together again the way it was. There's supposed to be like a locking mechanism to keep this from, I think it's from pulling up again. And like it doesn't work the way it originally was because there's some pieces there that I never even put back in it. This here is supposed to be like a little keyway piece. And you can see there's a collar on this here that this used to slide down over, and I think it used to keep it from pulling down the window too much and having it so that it bottom out. All I did was I played around with it enough that I got it that I can tighten it up, and I opened and closed the vent window, and I liked it. I tightened it up too much and I pulled it down, didn't like it, so I loosened it up again, and then I just put a little dab of welding on top of it. That's it. It works perfect, works the way it's supposed to, and that's just a quick little fix for them old vent windows. It's not ideal, but it will work, and it's all screwed back together again. So now this is ready to install, and I got both repairs done on both glass, so now I can put the two doors together. Figured I'd give them a quick clean up and put some paint on them so to protect them some for forever how long. So I went over and I took the other vent window out, figured I'll grease that up and get that all working, and I ended up breaking that one off. Look, nothing's moving. Oh my, so I gotta repair this one now as well. So I'm gonna do the same process as what I did with the other one, and hopefully I don't kill this window. So I got the second one fixed, same process as I did the last one, just welded the end of the nut on the end of it. I'm here now. There's adjustment nuts on the bottom of these here. They were adjusted all the way in and the doors work good, but I'm going to free them up because you never know. This is liable to need adjustment now because I got it all taken apart. So I turned around and got them all greased up, and I'm going to let them sit for a little bit so I can actually see if I can work them loose and get them all freed up. I'm over here in the door sizing up the regulator. I want to clean that up a bit, put some grease on it, run it through the motions. There's very little or nothing on that in the way of grease, so look at that. But I was here looking inside the door, sizing up latches and stuff like that, and I glanced in over the top here, and I saw this thing here. I was like, what the old wasp nest in the door. Yeah. I don't know if I can turn you upside down, you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yep, old wasp nest. And that's one side back together. I'm just flying through this, just trying to get stuff done. Basically, it's reversed the same process as what I did before. Glass got to go in first. The last time, I took it out through the bottom of the door, so I couldn't put it in that time. It had to go in from the top, the way it was supposed to. You put that in, you drop that down side the door. You get this in position, and then what you end up doing then is you put your seal in, and then you start bringing your glass up and you put your regulator in. And your regulator will fit in between this and the actual body of the door. And when you slide it in, you don't bolt it up until you put it on the track, and then you start maneuvering the crank and the window. It's a bit tricky because the window wants to keep falling all the way down, and I used to be taping it up, and then I figured out a little trick. I used a block of wood underneath the glass and hold it up, and then I put it all together. But I got that side done. I went ahead and I threw some paint down in here and up inside here, everywhere where the rubber was going to sit in along here. So that way I haven't got to worry about being bare metal up there. All this got to be primed and everything, so, and bodywork or whatever. But I want to get something on it so I can get it all put together. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just blow through the other side and get the other side done as well. And there's door number 2 complete. All back together again. Got all the glass and everything back in it, vent windows. It was just straightforward and simple. Just had to bolt it all in. There's 4 bolts here. 1 bolt there. Screw there. And 3 screws up along here. And that's the extent of that. Put a few seals and everything back on them. Another hobble done. Hope that you can read upside down. That's it. Sun visors. And what else? Seatbelt bolts and seat mounts. That's it. So we're inside the cab now. Everything got to finish up on that. I think tomorrow I'm going to carry on and mount the front seat and have that done and over with, so then I can figure out what way the seat belts are going to mount for in the middle, and the sun visors where they're going to go to in ways of sat behind the wheel. Yeah, another one done. Well, it's a new day. I have everything on the outside of the truck is now completed. For fabrication wise, I gotta mount the seat, I gotta put seat belts in it, and I gotta put sun visors in and figure out where they gotta go so I can drill a hole. So when I fill that, I haven't got to worry about it later. I'm over here now figuring out what way I'm going to mount the seat. If I'm going to solid mount it or if I'm going to put it on runners. I'm on two minds. I don't know what to do right yet. So I think I got to size it all up. I got to center up the seat. I have it at the height that I want it. This is where I want the seat. I just got blocks of wood laid underneath it. This is the original holes. I'm looking to take these in. Plus I want to take the holes in down the bottom of the seat. I got to see where they're two in reference to each other, because I like to have it so that it bolts onto the seat and it bolts onto the floor in original places. Now I do have 4 holes over here, but I'm only going to use the 2 outside ones here and the 2 outside ones over there. So I'm going to sit down now and maneuver this seat around, get it from side to side where I'm happy with it, and start taking some measurements and see what I can come up with. So after taking the seats out now, and I got the runners here, I got springs taken off, and I got to move all the way ahead so that the seat can come, well, all the way back is what it is. So that way I can move the seat forward if I want to be. I like to rig this up so if Wendy wants to drive it, she can drive it. If she wants to move the seat ahead, she can. I have both of them. These are the original ones, belong to the actual square body seat, and I got them bolted on. In here now, I got the mounting section here, right here and here. And what my plan is now, I'm just going to get I want a piece of angle iron that I can just run down here, longer piece. I'll trim it off after the fact, but I want to have lots of excess there. So here's what I come up with. I haven't got no angle iron, but I have an abundance of this here slight wall square stock. I'm going to cut this out here now. I'm going to cut it off the length. I'll give myself 24 inches, and I'm going to split 2 sides of it down, and that'll give me 2 pieces of angle iron. I'll trim it up and dress it up after the fact. But main thing is now I want to get it all built first and get it all mounted, because I got to have this here so it bolts down. I want 2 pedestals to come up here. Now some people might just say just have mounts right here and mount right here. I just assume all this be one big large unit that mounts on the side of the seat, because it's going to be raised up about probably 4 inches or so up off the top of this here, and I want to have it so that it's strong, and by keeping it all one piece like this here going around, that when I puts it on the floor I can actually give it lots of strength. So I'm going to go ahead now. I got it marked out here, 24 inches. I'm going to cut that off there, and I'm going to split this down the middle here and down the other side, and I'll have 2 sections. And here I got it cut off, and I got 2 pieces made out of it there now. This is not overkill in terms of like heavier steel. I got to clean that one up a bit to get that out of the way. But what I got to do now is I got to split this here and get this laying flat in the vehicle and get 2 holes drilled. Get 1 left and 1 right made up so that I got it done. I'm going to do it in such a way that so when you're looking from the side, the bolt will be on this side here. Instead of having it so it's like this here and you can see the bolt, I'm going to have it so that when you bolt it in, the bolt will be on the inside here. And if I want to close this in some way with sheet metal, I can do if it's noticeable. I'm not being concerned about it. But what I got to do next now is I got to split this here and get this here to lay flat on the actual 2 mounting areas. Now when you lay it in here, you can see back here there's the rear bolt. I got a little bit of excess here. I got too much up front. I only need about that much of that there, up to there. But this here is not laying flat. There you can see that. And then back here is not laying flat. So all I'm going to do is figure out where I'm going to put it. I'm going to split it up here and bend it so it lays flat here. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll cut it here and lay flat there. And then I'll weld up this section here and I'll weld up this section here so that it lays flat. And I'll make one for this side and I'll make one for the other side. Just split that there. It's laying flat there. I split that there. It's laying flat there. I'll go over now and I'll weld up 2 of these. Now, there's nothing pretty about this. I'm not concerned about it looking nice right now. I'm going to trim all this up and weld all this up and grind all this up after the fact. All I want now is function, because I may run into problems and realize, no, this is not going to work, scrap it. So when I build stuff like this here, I just roughly build it. I give myself too much of everything. I turn around, went over, marked it, drilled the holes on the back and the front, went over, test fit them in the back stud. Then if you remember when I scrapped the first Crown Vic, I hung on to everything, all the nuts and bolts. And I just went out and grabbed the bucket and dug out 2 front bolts and 2 rear nuts that I can actually bolt this down. So I can actually go over now and mount these in the truck and bolt them down. So I got them bolted in place. They're crude looking, but they're going to serve the purpose. Got the other one bolted on over there. I got my blocks of wood left here. Out here now, I'm sizing up how I'm going to mount this. Right here, you can see this angle's back. I want to make this flat, and I want to put this on a 90 this way here. I'm going to do this way here. That way I got vertical surfaces and flat surfaces to actually weld to, because I think I'm just going to run a pedestal off of that, and probably a pedestal off the front of this here to mount to the actual the lower brackets. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to pop these off, and I might have to cut these and then re-weld them again and flatten this out. And this one here should flatten out on a 90 fine anyway, so I'll go ahead now and get all that done. So here's all I got done. I just bent them up, I took them off, cleaned them up. I managed to flatten this one out with just hammering it down. So I got nice and flat, so now I got somewhere to mount the pedestal off of there, and the pedestal either off the front of it or the back of it, one or the other. So now that I got that all done, that's all straightened away, I'm going to bring it back in here, leave my blocks of wood here, and set this up here and just see where everything falls. So I got the seat laid in place, and I got the block of wood mounted underneath it here, and I got some strapping put on the back side here to raise up the back a small bit because the seat was hitting the hump there. I got in it, I sat in it, and to see what it felt like, and I'm happy where it's to, where the seat and everything is to. It's pretty straightforward what I got to do here. You see the front mount right here comes down, just got to get a piece of square stock to go up to there. The back one, same thing. I'll get a piece of square stock to go from this mount here down to the back piece. That's the reason why I left it long, because the bolt for here is right here, and the bolt for here is up in the head of this one. So this will have to come forward like this now, and I'll dress the end of it. I'll cut off what I don't need, and I'll round the edge off it like that. And I'll just go dig up some square stock now that I can actually just run up here and weld on here and weld on here. Then I can unbolt this and weld up them brackets fully. It's pretty straightforward and simple. I sat it behind the wheel a bit. I'm happy where it's to. It's a bit snug between the steering wheel and me, but I wouldn't say snug, but it's comfortable. And I'm more concerned about getting lumbar support here and being able to stretch my legs out, and I can stretch my legs out. I'm set high in the truck a bit. I could possibly lower it down a bit if I wanted to, but I don't know, I'm quite content with that there. It's flush to the back window right here, just a little tiny bit. No time rubber and everything goes on it, I won't be up in the back window. So I'll be sitting high, and the problem I've had, I love sitting low in a vehicle, but the problem I got, when you start sitting lower, you lose the lumbar support here. And I'm getting old. I find that if I haven't got support here underneath my legs, it's murder to drive. So I'm going to build this for comfort for me, for driving it. And this is set up now. The seat can come forward if it need be, if I wanted to. I don't think it's got to come ahead much. It may come ahead a couple of clicks or something for when you want to drive it. The pedals are also telescopic in this one, so they come back. So it can be set up pretty easy enough for her to drive it. But anyway, I'm going to go dig up some steel now, see if I can find some pieces now that I can actually make 4 little stands for this, that I can get them welded in place. So I'm over here playing around with it, digging through my steel collection over here, and I come across 2 pieces. I don't know if I can get 4 out of this. The back ones are going to be pretty long. The front ones are only 3 inches long, so I can cut 2 out of this here. I know that for a fact. And if I need to, what I'll do is I'll cut the back one out of this one here. I'll get 2 of them. So the 2 back ones, this is a heavier... This is, what's this here? This is 1/8 wall, and this is the slider wall here. And I'll put this in the front and put that in the back. So I'll cut out 2 of these here, 3 inches, because that's how high they got to be. And then I'll measure up for the back and cut them out of there. Nothing elaborate there. A little bit of square stock in the front and square stock in the back. Rest of it underneath that there. I'm just going to weld them on there. I'll dress it all up and figure out something to do up here. And not fussy on where this just cuts off like this. I might cut it back on an angle like this or something. I was going to put it behind it, but it interferes with this bracket and doesn't fit in there nice. And besides that, the bolt is way up here, and I'm trying to get some beef on the front of the plate, like where it bolts down. So I'd assume have it forward of it. So I'm going to go ahead now, get that clamped in place, get the other side done as well, and get that welded in. I went ahead and tack welded everything together there. It's close quarters, but I got enough welded on it there now that I can haul the seat out of it and take the brackets off the bottom of the rear end. And I can actually weld them all up solid and dress them all up. Doesn't that look lovely? Look. But that's it. Look at the bubble gum welding there. I was welding overhead there, inside out. Look at the mess of that. Ugh. Yeah, ain't that lovely? Look at that. Look. That's far from rolled nickels, that is. Anyway, I'll tidy that up. Just awkward there because I was in on the back side here trying to weld upwards, and it just was what it was. I'll clean it up and weld it up better than that. Yeah, so I'll cut off most of this now up front. I'll cut all this all off in the back. I'll dress this up, clean this off, and dress it all up and get it all welded up on the inside and all that type of stuff. So I'll pop them off now, bring them over on the bench, and I can weld away at them. And there you have it, all finished up. I never got too carried away with it. I cleaned it all up with the 24 grit and just knocked the head off the actual welds. I chopped everything off that I didn't need it. I even cut her back here. This was pretty wide up along here, and I just thinned it out along there. This is the side that's facing out, and you can see like the original height was there. I just cut it on 45, and then I actually rounded off the corners just to give it a little bit of style to it. Here in the front end, you can see I just cut it off, rounded it off here, rounded it off here for the bolt hole. I'm not going to bother doing nothing with that. That's where I'll store my McDonald's fries to when they falls off the seat. I'm not going to fool around welding anything over that. It's just more work. It's just cosmetic. But I welded everything solid. This is the tab here from the original one that's fully welded on. There's the tab there, fully welded on. Is this the one? Yeah, I ground off all the welds there. That's them bubblegum mess, and I re-welded it again. Not much better, but it's best kind. But I got 2 of them done now. So I can actually say that the actual seat mounts are done. I might bolt them back on seats and bolt the seat in and just see what it's like. There you have it. Simple little seat mount. Nothing fancy. It's still functional. I haven't got none of the springs or anything put back on that right now because I want to paint all this up and everything, but I had to put this in here because I got to figure out the center seat belts. So I got to figure out how high, if I got to build a platform or something in there for the seat belt to mount to. But yep, that's the seat in there. It flips ahead. See behind it, not a lot of room. See right here is the seat belt goes down through, and I got to find some way to attach it down there. I don't think they're long enough. I was out looking in the spare Crown Vic and even the back seat belts. So I was hoping for to get something about a foot long, but they're not that long. But yeah, there's the seat there. I'm gonna crawl up in there now and see what it's like. Well, as you can see, I'm sat in here. I'm comfortable. I am high in it. I always like to be lower in vehicles, but that's it. That's all you can do. I wanted to have it this high because I get the lumbar support here, and it was amazing. Just look. The steer is straight to the firewall there. Now my feet are, and then that's my foot on the gas pedal. That's my foot on the brake, so it's comfortable. You know, I'm just sat here, mucking along. Everything's gonna be fine in it. It's comfortable. Lots of room here. My knees are not hitting nothing, right? So, but yeah, that's another hobble done. I got the seat mounts made onto the seat belts. I went out and brought in all the Crown Vic stuff. This is what I got. There's one seat belt there. And that's the other seat belt there. There's one bottom. There's the other bottom. I brought these into, these here are the small single ones. I figured I might be able to use them. What I got to figure out is this piece here. This one here, this is going to bolt on in the factory piece that I went on here. And I think I'm just going to drill a hole up in the corner, build a plating system down the sliding behind it. And I think all I'm going to do is, this is the top section right here. This is the sliding section. I think I'm going to just remove this section here off it, get rid of all this here, and just have this protruding out through the side. And that way I can actually just use the factory bolt and everything and just bolt it into the actual panel itself right here. And weld this onto the back side of the plating system that I do. So this got to pull through as well. And I'll just drill a hole for this part here to go through. And that will be that there figured out. The lower one here, I'm going to have to mount this onto the a section of the door post, which is right here. I have the sections here originally belonged to them right here. I'm going to cut these out and weld these back into the truck, because then I got the little slot there and the bolt hole, which is the right thread that'll bolt on there, and that's what the seatbelt hung off of. It was only a lower bolt, and that was it. And then the lower one, the actual, this one here, that will bolt on in the factory location where it was to. And that's just right inside the door here. The spot is down here on the floor. There's a spot there for the mounting hole. So there's got to be a bolt there and a bolt here that I'll cut the piece out of, and then there'll be another one put up here that I'm going to put a system there. It's just these middle ones here, I know for a fact they're going to have to build something that them pieces are going to have to bolt to, that's going to be strong enough that it won't pull clear. So that's what I got a reason why I wanted to put the seat back in it. I got to take it out again to put seat belts in it, but I needed to figure that out and get an idea of what I want to get done. So here's where I'm to. This is the seat belt that I got put in here. What I did is I had to remove the plastic piece off it. This is the way they look. The problem with it is the seat belt wants to sit like this, down and through the floor, and I want to have it so I can actually turn it this way, but it won't fit through the hole in the floor that way with this cover on it. So I turned around now and I just got the cover taken off it. You can see it here. This is what's left to it now. I'm going to remove all them wires, and then I'm going to feed that down through there, and I want this to be about right there. About right there is where I want that. Somewhere around there. If I can get that to stay there now, it'll be something else. Just have that like that there, resting like that. Now here's the problem you're going to run into. Now down here, you can look up there and you can see that tab hanging down. You can see that where it's hanging down to that steel piece. That's what got to bolt onto something. I wants to build something there now that I can actually bolt that to. And you can see there's a cross member going across there. That's the actual seatbelt cross member. There is an actual hole down lower down here. You can see it there, just behind that plastic cover that the original seatbelt bolted to. And but I don't think I'm going to go down that low. I'm trying to rig this up so I can actually still put the carpet in it, but I'm overthinking it more than anything else. I'll just trim it off around that piece. I'm going to weld something into the car that'll actually mount it. Them seat belts will be mounted to. I just want to have it nice and solid and up high, because if I goes too low with a long piece of steel, the angle's not going to be right on it, right? So I'll take some quick measurements now on this here, get an idea where everything is to. I'll put the other one down there, get an idea how far apart they got to be. And what I'll do then is I'll start dreaming up some idea. I'll haul the seat back out and I can start installing all the seat belts. And there you have it. One seat belt installed. As you can see down there, you can see that's the factory location for that belt. That bolts right on here. Up here I cut a section out of the door post that this section bolted onto, and I kept it on the same angle that it was on, so that when I welded it in, the actual mechanism was leaned back a bit, because I think that if this was straight up and down, it'll got a tendency to lock more, because there's only a pendulum inside them that basically makes everything lock up, and when they're tipped back a small bit, they got to go a little bit further in order for them to lock up. So I left it alone like it was. The way they're bolted on is bolted all in the factory holes from the Crown Vic. Up here now, I used a section of the Crown Vic seatbelt mounting unit, and I put a plating system, a heavy plating system, in behind the actual door post, and the spot welded on with 8 spot welds, and this bolt thing is welded to this plating system. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through this side and show you in detail everything I got done. But I want to get it done first, just to iron out, to figure out, okay, what got to be done. Now up here, like I'm here thinking about how strong, you know, plating this up and doing all kinds of stuff to it. For a human body to tear that clear, it's got to remove all this entire quarter section right here. All that got to be tore clear right out of it, because there's a big heavy plate in behind that. And I think that if you got to the point where you actually tore that clear, I don't think you had to be worried about anything, because the G-forces to cause something like that would be crazy. And the way I look at it, like I sized up how it was bolted together, it was this upper section was held in with 2 probably 5/16 bolts. That's what was holding the whole mechanism in place. behind everything, like when you had the heavy plating system and everything. There was just 2 5/16 bolts holding this bracket on. I'll show you that too. But anyway, that's the seatbelt mount. I got one in. So let's get over here now, and I'll show you how I did that one by building this one here. Now, starting off, this is the door post out of the Crown Vic. The actual lower mount mounted here, and it had a tab that slipped into here. And this is the section. Now, this is only sheet metal down along here, and it was welded to the floor. There's no reinforcement or nothing was in here. It was just one bolt in here and was held there. Up here is where the upper section was too. There was 2 bolts in here that held this bar in that you could slide up and down. I'm eliminating all that. But all I needs off of this here now is I need to chop this section here out of here. Get this here. I want to save this piece here because I'm going to reuse this. So I got the piece cut out. What I do now is I'm going to go over and trim this off. Trim this off down along here. And trim this up here. So I got this all cleaned up and ready to install. Over here now, this is the inner rocker setup on this truck that's really heavy. I gotta trim this back because it interferes with everything on this here. So I'm going to trim it back like I did the other side, cut it off here, come up here. I leave a section right here that I can actually plug weld to it, and I can plug weld to it down here as well. You can see now I got it laid in place here. That's where that'll go. I'm going to measure distance from here to here now. It's 2 3/4, and I got to make a piece to go up there, 2 3/4 of an inch, and then go out on right angle. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to weld some 14 gauge to this here now and extend it off. But I know it's from here up is 2 3/4 that I got to put a bend in it. So I'm over here now, and I just found a random piece that I got here, and I'm going to lay it up against that there and weld that to that, right along there. Make sure I got enough there because it's not on a right angle there. I'm not going to worry about cutting this up. Like, I'm not going trimming this up to try to get it perfect now. I'm just leaving a lot of excess on the top side here and have it so I can trim it all off after the fact, and that's all I'm going to do with it. All I'm worried about now is making this longer and have lots of excess off the end of it. This will do perfect. I'll get that welded on there now. I got it welded on there, and you can see I marked off straight edge, so I'm going to cut that off here. Down here, and I'm going to leave some excess here because I want to roll over lip the same as this here. And I'll just cut that off down along there, and then I'll figure out the distance from here down here and put a 90 on it. That's all I did. Bent it up, trimmed it up, and I went over and tested it a few times, and then I tied it up this top section here, and I went in and I welded all the back side of it there to give it lots of strength, because I'm going to dress this off out here now so it doesn't interfere with nothing. So I'll get that all dressed up. I'm going to drill a couple of spot welds in it right here, and one's in here. And possibly I might put one down in here somewhere. And that there piece is pretty well ready to be put in. So I got the piece all done. Plug welds put in it. Dressed up. Welded on the back side. Cleaned it up. That will go in here now just like so. That'll fit in there. And I'll plug weld the plug welds. And then I'll weld it all the way down here solid. Across there and up around all that. And in that corner. I'll weld all that solid. And there it is. Fully welded in. All down through here and across the bottom here, in around here, plug welded here, welded inside here, plug welded up along here. So now while I'm waiting for this to cool off, I'm going to go over and prep the seatbelt. So here we got the seatbelt. This is the lower mounting bolt, and there's that tab for the slot. So this will fit into a slot and tighten up. So this will only go in one location, and it's tipped back on a small angle. She had these on them. I'm going to remove them. They were just a guide that went up on the inside of the car where it was a 4-door. I don't need them on the truck, so I'm just going to, that just snaps on. If I want to put them on later on, if I do find them handy, I can put them back on. Now we're up to the actual lever. This is what the upper shoulder harness was mounted to. If you look at it here, it was 2 bolts and holding this in place. And there's just a little tab up here, basically as all it was, that was holding this whole mechanism in the thing, and 2 bolts. So like, it's not a big heavy duty item. And this slid up and down on top of this bracket here. Now I'm going to eliminate all this. I want to keep this piece right here because that's what the bolt goes into. And I want to get rid of all this. All I'm going to do is cut this in half here, slide this off it, and this plastic stuff only snaps on. I'm going to remove all the plastic stuff off it. So this is the unit that was mounted on the doorpost that everything was mounted to. This is what the seatbelt was mounted to, and then this slid up and down. I'm going to eliminate that. I was thinking about using it, but I don't need that. But I do need this mounting point. So I got to remove all these pieces off it. In order to get this off the track, I got to cut the track off. So I cut it off, and he just slid the unit off it there, and he just popped it off. It was only snapped in place right there. And then on the inside of it, there was like a Teflon liner that went in it that slid over this here. So I pulled that out of it. So I need this. I don't need that. So now this is the next thing. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to mount this. Now right here, I got a mark put. And that's where I want the seatbelt to go, because I compared to the other side that I got it done. This has to go on the inside there, in behind it, and it's got to be mounted to something to give it lots of strength on the back side. What I found was this piece of steel. This was a rack off a pickup truck for a box, I think it was, or a rack of some sort, like where you mount the stuff on it. And it's pretty heavy gauge stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of this here, drill a hole down through it, and that's all I did on the other piece. Is I drilled it. I had 2 of these. I already have one installed, and then I'm going to drill this so this here will go through the hole of this here on the back side of it. So I'll get a hole drilled in this first. So I got the hole drilled in that, and I stripped all the outside of it off, and I sanded the inside of it here. And the reason for that is because I need to take this now, drop it down through here, like so, and that'll stick out like that, and I'll weld this on the back side. Now, when I put this up in place, I got to find a way that I can put it up and get it mounted in place and bring it in tight. This is what I come up with. I got a 3/4 socket. Now, this is one of the seatbelt mounts, seatbelt bolts that went into the car, and the bolt is the same thread as this here. So, all I did is you take the 3/4 socket, and that fits into there like so. So, that'll fit over that, and that'll tighten up into that. So, I'll just put that on there, screw that in there. And that'll tighten up there. Now I'll straighten this up. Like so. Now what I'll do is I'll go over and I'll weld this in here, and I'll weld this in here. This is spaced off a bit because this is raised up in this area here, but I only want to hold it stationary so it doesn't turn, and I'll use this mechanism to do it. So I'll get this welded up here now. So I got that all welded in there. I just welded both ends of it there. That's permanently part of that now. What I did then is I come over inside the truck, and the spot that I had marked, I drilled it out, made it big enough. Then I took this here and laid it on over, got the spot where I liked it, because you can turn this certain ways, and it don't want to go in perfectly straight. It wants to sit flat this way here. So I marked it around with a marker, and then I drilled out all these plug welds. Now I can feed this up through. And that's as easy as that. Now I forgot to clean the tops off of these here. I'm going to strike these with the grinder now, clean these up. And I'm going to go ahead now and get them all welded up. And there they are, all welded up. I get that all grinded up now and call this one done. Got it all back in place. There's little covers I got for that to go on that. Down here, you can see where it fits on. The original tab goes in the hole and it tightens up. And then it goes into the original mount on the bottom. That's that done. Now I gotta move on to the center here. I gotta make up a brace that'll go across here that I can bolt the seat belts to. First things first, I'm gonna give this a clean up. Give it a blown out. Now, I'm not gonna overcomplicate this. This is underneath the seat. I got a cross member on the seat that's about right here. That goes across, and it's up off the back of that there about that much. And the seat belt mount goes here, and it says about 14 inches got to be between the two holes. for the actual bolts to go into them. And these are the mounts that I'm going to take in here, is these ones here. These are the original seat mounts. The inside seat belts used to be go off of these here, were mounted on, and the seat was mounted there as well. So all I'm going to do is just make it out of angle iron. I got a bunch of this stuff over there. I'm going to flange it on the bottom, square it up and weld it up so there's two sides on it with a bottom, and then that'll bolt on there with a hole in it, and that'll come up on an angle possibly to this here, and it'll be welded across this here on two angles. And then I'll just drill a hole in this here, and I'll probably trim this up here so it fits down inside that here cavity a bit better, right? It don't have to go down flush because I got carpet and everything goes in it, and I just needs to have it so it's half, I get it as low as I possibly can get it. So I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to go over there now and start cutting up some steel and making up some pieces. So here's what I come up with. I went and had these 3/16 washers. They had the back side cut off. I don't know what they were for. There was something belonging to this car. And I just took angle iron and brought it up on an angle. I didn't want it straight up and down, and brought two of them on an angle so they came towards each other, so they were fighting against each other. And then I just placed a angle iron across top of it. Now, this is on an angle as well, and there's a lot of angles going on. I was just cut, fit, and going with that. I got this mocked up here now. I don't know, I can cut some of this down if I have to, because the seatbelt will bolt onto it like so. You know, like that. And I say I can cut off about a ½ inch of it off the top of it if I got to. But I want to put the seat in it just to see where it's to size it up, if it's clearance at all or if it's right in the way, one or the other. So wish me luck. I'll bolt the seat in. I got the seat in it, I'm telling you, holy bless it. Talk about spot on. There it is in there. And the angle iron is just touching the springs for the seat. Just touching them. Now, when that takes a ½ inch off the top of that, I don't need it all there. It'll be perfect. So, I'm not going to change thing on it. I'm just going to take it out, weld it up now. Make sure that it's still going to fit in there. And after I weld it, because it's going to shrink up. And then I'll just trim it all up and make it look nice. There it is. I got it all cleaned up. I trimmed off a ½ inch or more off top side of it there. I have these temporary bolts in it here now. I dug out some old header bolts and 9/16 bolts to bolt this together. For some reason, it comes with two different seat belts in the front of these, and I'm going to go out to the other Crown Vic and haul the front seat belts out of it and get a matching set out of it. But for now, I'm just going to bolt this in the car like it is and just check it out and put the seat in it and try out the seat belts. Everything was going good till it wasn't. The seatbelt mount unit works. It will be fine. I can use it. The problem with it is now, after sizing things up, the seat frame goes across here, and the actual bracket is ahead of the seat frame, but up inside the seat, so you can't move the seat forward. I'm not getting into changing it right now because I don't really need the seat to go ahead for me now, right now. I'm more concerned about getting seat belts in it. And this seat belt here won't fit. This one here with this blocks. I don't know what it is. There's wires coming out of that. There's sensors for something, right? Everything is a sensor. And then there was wires coming out of the top of this. You can see the wire there. Right? And you can see the wires coming out there. Like, man, oh man, it's way too much. That was the length I'd like to have, but without that little square block. I like to have that with the strap. The belts are not what you call long enough, these little pieces here. And I don't know what other Fords got that style in it. Maybe I get something out of a truck that'll be the same. The problem I'm running into is that I can't bolt them onto the frame and then put the seat in and pull them up through. They won't go. There's no room there. The seat won't lay down. These brings up in it. These got to be where they're to right there. And if they're down on each seat, the seat won't fit in place. And it's a bit of trouble here. I had to jack up one side of the seat and then reach in underneath with a nut and a bolt on. I just got a little nut and bolt finger tied on it there now to put in it. Sat up in it, tried it, everything's fine. But there's like a seat frame that goes around the back of the seat and the seat won't move forward. Now, I'm not too concerned about it. I've come this far with everything here now, and like I'm thinking about ways of fixing it. And the problem you got is that right off the bat, even if the seat did move, they'd be no good. Because once the seat goes forward, that'll pull down to the floor. That's fully tight there now. That's right. And that brace is right up underneath the seat. They're not long enough for anything. They're only designed to go on a sponge floor seat that was in a Crown Vic. No, they're the ones that were bolted to the side of the seat because they used to move the seat. That's the way they worked. And I'm not getting into none of that. I'm quite content with it here now. I got up and sat in and put seatbelt down. Feels best kind. I just got to go out in the other cop car and take this other seatbelt out of it. And I got to figure an easy way to bolt it on. Like, I should weld another something on one side, but I got to figure out a way to do it. And these are not long enough. Like, if they were like another 3 inches longer, you can drop them down through the seat and lift the seat up. But the problem you got is when you go to lift the seat up to get at the bolt, that pulls down through and falls down. So it's one thing, half dozen another. But I'll get around it. I'm going to call that a win anyway because I just got to change the seat belts. It's just a lot of work to put the seat belts in. Now that's in there now. That's perfect. That'll work perfect and there's not an issue with it. It's just a nightmare to put in, and I'm always about making things easy to take apart and put together. But I can't get, I got to go out and get the other seat, passenger seat, I'm thinking it is, passenger seat belt mechanism off it, and then figure out a way to mount that to that brace that I got made. But the brace clears and everything on the bottom. It doesn't interfere with nothing like that. It's just that there's extreme tight quarters trying to get in there. But anyway, I'm going to call that a win. I got the seat belts bolted in. Everything else that got to be done to it now is something I can do when I goes to put the car together and I can figure it out. But that brace is, I want to pretty that up a bit more. Same with the seatbelt runners and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to say that, yeah, the seatbelts are inner. And I just got to, that little problem I got there, but it has no bearings on me moving forward on this truck. I'll address that when I goes put the interior back in it. So that's it for the seat belts. Got the seat mounted. All I got left to do now is sun visors. And we can call this truck fabrication job done. Well, last night I went and done the thing. I was in the house thinking about it. I had to come out. I said, yep, I think it's time. The truck is off the racks. There she sits. No motor transmission in it yet. Man, this thing is low. I was in the house last night and turned around and felt, yeah, it's about time I got this down, had a good look at it, sized things up. I find it a lot easier to get in and out of, and I'm also wants to start on doing the body work on this now, and it's a lot easier to get at the roof with this right here. But yeah, it's pretty wild. I stood up. That's eye level for me looking across the top of that. Never even been too many trucks like that. But I'm pleased with everything, how it sits and everything. I was going to roll it out by the door, but I think I got a stuck caliber or something on the back over there, so I left it alone. Yeah, that's the way she sits. I've been sitting here. The last thing I had to do yesterday, I turned around and mounted all the seat belts in it yesterday. Everything just takes time. I got the two back ones put in it and the brace made here. And the seat belts, I got to take some out of the other car. I was talking about that, but that's minor. The brace is already in there. Everything is, all I had left to do was the sun visors. Now, before I do that, you can see the sun visors are there and the seat belt mounts. Crossed it off the list. There we go. And then I got the seat belt mounts, or sun visors, sorry. Now, I started sizing things up. I got the sun visors out of the Crown Vic right here. And I went out and I took one off the parts car. And it's tricky to put it in place. I can make it work. It's just going to be stuck off a bit when you mount it in the vehicle. The way the roof is stuck, this here is going to be stuck off a small bit. And these two screws will be holding it in place. And this one here will be sticking up a small bit. It's no big deal. I can live with that. But it's so much easier to get in and out of this now. The problem I got is I got to fill this up along here. And if I drills all the holes for this now and I fills it, I'm going to have to be dealing with trying to clean out all the holes. And we're talking about 3, 4, 5 holes on either side. And I said, Tony, just fill it all, and then before you primes it, drill it out then. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them off until after the bodywork is done. So I'm not going to conclude them on the list. So I basically have everything done that I want to do on the truck that I need to get done. Everything else seems to be copacetic. I'm thinking about straightening up the garage here next week. I'm going to bring the box in and have the box so I can work on it, but I want to concentrate on getting this here, getting the body work done on this, and getting everything primed, so that way I can start putting this back together. Because the biggest thing with it is I want to put the dash in it permanently, but in order to put the dash in it permanently, I got to fill and paint all this here. Now I'm only going to do it with spray bomb, satin black. I'm not going to do nothing else. I eventually want to make covers and everything for this, but not going to bother with that this year. I'm just going to get this all filled, get it all primed, same with up on top there, get that all done, so that way I haven't got to worry about it no more. And then the outside of the vehicle, I'm going to be sanding everything out, feather edging everything back, doing a bit of body work on stuff, buzzing it off. That's it. I'm not getting carried away with doing body work on this. Right back here on the back of the cab, most of this I'll do a bit of body work here on the sides, but all this here is going to be seam sealed. It's behind the box, and I got it done so there's an actual seam there anyway, so I'll be just seam sealing that up. So you could say the fabrication work on the cab, the front of the truck, is complete. I do have one thing that I found that I never installed, and that was the battery box. I got to modify that to fit that over there in that corner, but it's only made of plastic. There's no welding involved in it, I don't think. I may have to make a stand or something for it to mount it in there, but I can do that later. It's not going to hold me up. This, like, I want to get the fabrication work done so that, like, inside the cab, the welding, the visors, all that, that's what I had in my mind. If it was touching the body and had to be anything done with it, well, then that's it. But yes, there you have it. In all her glory, she's laid on the ground there now. She's still no motor transmission in, so this thing is going to be low. Anyway, this is where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips are good. Until next time.